Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada, he built a house in which the whole world can live. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Jai. Jai. Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Wow, it's like a horse. Diplomat. You know diplomat? No, you don't know diplomat, do you? Yeah, it's a horse. Yeah, diplomat. He was a famous horse. He passed on, went to his reward. Yeah. He wore big garlands like this. Yeah, okay. Got to push this button, turn this off. Okay, go over there, and this should work. Okay. Now we sing the famous song. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradari. Ballabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivara Dari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Nandana Braja Jana. Jamuna Tira Bana Chori. Jamuna Tira Bana Chori. Bana Chori. Shri Radha Madhava Asta Saki Ki Jai. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto. That doesn't work. Yeah, over here. We'll try. So it'll be 11th canto. Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, part 2. Huh? Yeah. Where is the best ice cream store in Houston? You know that? Yeah. We have to know our way around the Bhagavatam like we know our way around our city. Where's the hardware store? Where's the park? Where's the museum? Where can I get where's the cheap coin-operated car wash? So you had to have a map of the Bhagavatam. Hey, it is. It's right here. Okay. So this is 11th canto, and this is the Uddhava Gita. Uddhava, everybody's leaving the world. Krishna is going to depart. Okay. And he's arranging for everybody to go to Prabhasa for some sacrifice. And because they're starting to become unengaged and not following his orders exactly, and they're too much, too heavy. So he's going to have them engage in a fratricidal war and kill each other off, since nobody else can kill them. And then he'll go. And so Uddhava has already figured this out. It's interesting, we were talking about Uddhava last night. I didn't know that, These things seem to be under control. So, Uddhava is a very, very interesting person. He's very intelligent, he even looks like Krishna. And he's figured out from the omens and different things that, Krishna is going to be leaving. And he says, I just, can't really exist without you. And so please take me with you and this and that. And then Krishna starts to give him instructions. And Krishna asks him to stay. He says, other people are going with me. But he says, please stay because there's nobody else to protect the devotees. Protect the devotees intellectually and everything else, so on. So, he goes to, where does he go? After Krishna leaves, where does Uddhava go? Huh? Badarik ashram, no? Yeah. Because Krishna says, I'm there in my form of Narayan, in Narayan. And who is Narayan? Is it one person? He says 2 people. Who are they? That's simple. Who's in Grant's tomb? Who's in Grant's tomb? Yeah. One is Nara and the other is Narayan. Okay. Yeah. So Narayan means Supreme Lord, and he has an eternal associate who's Nara, which means human being. Devam said it was ago. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narotamam. He's the best of all human beings, Nara. And if you go on the Brajmandal Parikrama around Vrindavan, it takes about, you can do it in 1 month. I did it with Lokanath Maharaj's group many times. And one place you go to is Adi Bahadri. And it's because, what's his name? Krishna. Yeah. He saw little Krishna, he's this size Krishna. He saw Nanda Baba, his father, packing up and everything else, getting snacks or something, and Yashoda and packing everything. And he was going to go visit all the holy places. There are especially 4 holy places. And so Krishna was trying to convince him not to leave Vrindavan. He says, well, I have to go. I'm a Hindu. It's a pious activity. And so then Krishna said, well, everything is here in Vrindavan. Oh, it's not here. And he took him in Vrindavan to Badrinath, which is one of the 4 holy places. And so it's there. I call it Badri, Adi Badri. And when you're going there, walking on the parikrama, you walk for 1 month, with no shoes, everything. It's really the way we did it with Lokanath Maharaj. You keep going through a little high, you go climb through all these rocks and stuff, maybe 400 people. And you come out in a kind of little valley with sheep running around and the sun shining, and it's like, tra-la-la-la-la. So I says, wow. Then you go across that and go up another one. And it seems like you're going to the Himalaya mountains. I mean, just the real sensation is like that. Then finally, right in the middle of this rocky pathway, there's this arch, and you getting closer and, expecting it to say something like, all who enter here abandon hope, or something like that. That's the opposite direction. That's Dante's Inferno. But it's some kind of, and finally you arrive at this ashram. It's way up in the top of some hills in Vrindavan. And there's a kunda right in the middle, which is always covered with deep, very deep. Maybe it's, I don't know, it's deep, maybe like 2 stories or something, here, that deep. And the water goes different levels depending on the season and stuff, and devotees jump off the side and fall into it. And so there's a deity there of Uddhava, Narayan, and Vyasa, I think, the deities. And they're there, So that's what Krishna told Uddhava, I know you're going to feel separation from me, so go and stay in Badarik ashram. And so if you want to go, Uddhava is there in Badarik ashram. You go and talk to him and chant and that kind of stuff and have actual resources. I think Vyasa is also there, something. So these places are still still accessible. Like Hobby, the airport here. It's not like the rest of the city. I mean, you can go around the rest of the city. You can jump up and down all you want. You're not going to get more than like 3 or 4 feet off the ground, right? But if you go to Hobby, The airport? Yeah, there you can, it's like a doorway. It's a doorway to a higher planetary systems. At least for some time, you can go up to 33,000 feet. Yeah. It's got to walk down this thing, got to walk through this thing. You have to have this particular mantra and talisman hanging around your neck, and then they allow you to go there, and then, you go. So he's there, and before he left, then Krishna instructed him. And I think it starts in chapter 6 where he's making his petition for instruction, but the actual instructions I think start in chapter 7. And they go all the way to chapter, 40 or something. It's about 1,000 verses, more than 1,000 verses. The Uddhava Gita, or the Hamsa Gita, also called. And so in the whole process, you've been studying here, reading this, somehow or other, he talks about Varna, Ashram, Dharma, so many things. So in this section, what happened is that somehow or other, Uddhava asks about meditation, about this kind of things, meditation, Sanskrit word there, and the different perfections that are available from this. And so Krishna then describes it says there's 18 perfections, eight principal cities, which we hear all the time in Prabhupada's books, anima, prapti, you can become smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, you can, travel anywhere, you can acquire anything you want, prapti city. You can manufacture things that are impossible, don't even exist. A horsey ducky. You can have a horsey ducky. When you're a child, you want a horsey ducky, a horse and a duck. Okay, don't know how it works, but you can get that later on, if you want to. Yeah. And then there's 10 minor ones, which you're hearing about, which are related to the modes of nature, never becoming thirsty, and different things like that. But Krishna is telling him, all these last verses here he's saying, but all these things are kind of useless. I mean, if you become a devotee, then automatically they're following you, and actually for the most part they're usually distractions. I think it was here? It was in the class at Srinivasa's house. One girl was there. She asked, "What about these things like ayahuasca, LSD, psilocybin? What's the word? Peyote." And all these kind of things. And people are coming. What's your idea about those? And our point is that in Peru, where these things are just like wild, the jungles there have so much variety of pharmacological drugs, that their idea, they're more sophisticated. Behind every single one of these herbs and plants, there's a personality. There's a personality that comes down to the gross world. And so gross world is ultimately, we try to eliminate it with our view of reality, make it very sterile, Euclidean geometry, But no, behind everything is a personality, right? You try and make a 50, 60-story building. You try and build a new motel, right? You have to get permission from? Huh? You have to get permission from? If you want to build a motel in Houston, who do you need permission from? Baskin and Robbins? Huh? He knows this. He builds these things. Yeah. This what's it? That's called Department of something? Huh? Okay. I can't hear it. Yeah. And he knows, this is why you hire an architect, because he knows that this person is the guy to talk to. If you go to the lady at the desk, she's going to take it. Is Bob here? Yeah, Bob's here. Bob here is how are you? Oh, okay. Yeah. How you doing? Pretty good. How's the family? And we're thinking about building this. Oh, it looks pretty nice. Yeah. That's the third one you're doing. Okay, yeah. And so, not cheating, but that behind these things are people, and the guy that really handles this, the rules are there, but the guy that really handles it is this guy and stuff. And so you begin to understand that rules and regulations are there. The law of gravity is there. Do you have the law of gravity here? In Spain, they have the law of gravity. Do you have it? Do you have it here also? Yeah, okay. There are laws, and you can look at them mechanically. We got Ajay Govinda here, who's a professor of mathematical models of biological systems, and trying to describe a frog in terms of the law, calculus or something. You have to use calculus? You don't use calculus? Okay. Use four-dimensional norm Riemann space. Try and like come up with mechanical ways of describing it. Yeah. So there's always different, mystical powers, and he's saying that for the most part these are just distractions. Behind these are personalities, and externally you try and extract or manufacture something. LSD. Any chemists here? What does LSD stand for? Huh? Lysergic dimethylamide. You kill us if you just gave us that. Lysergic dimethylamide. And then they get the chemical formula for marijuana, which is something else and stuff. They're obsessed with this, reducing everything down like to these, mechanistic, chemical, molecular models and stuff and so on. For example, I think most people here are really, really fond of dihydrous oxide, right? You like it? You like dihydrous oxide? It's called water also. Like that. Hey, can you give me a glass of dihydrous oxide? What trace elements would you like? Like, oh, okay, I got 5%. Okay, tastes like spring water from Big Bear in Southern California. Yeah. So this is what he's basically telling him. The question arises, why on the earth is Uddhava asked these questions? And maybe it's again so Krishna can make this contrast. The first 2 cantos are Krishna's lotus feet, 3 and 4 are his legs, 5 is his waist, 6 is his chest, 7 is his throat, 8 and 9 are his arms, something like that. 9 is his throat, 7 and 8 are his arms, and 10 is his face. Which chapters are his smile? Huh? Which chapters of the 10th canto are Krishna's smiling face? Huh? Yeah. 10th canto is his face. Yeah. Panch Adhyay Ras Lila. Panch Adhyay Ras Lila, no? Yeah. But 29 through, 29 through 34, right? Yeah. And that's a smile. It's the Ras Lila chapters, and they're so beautiful, the Sanskrit, the content, everything else. Then chapter 11 is his forehead, and chapter 12 is the crown. So these are just like afterwards, no? This is like the main thing is right here. Yeah. But then, to frame it properly, then you go back down. So now we're going back down to talking about Sankhya and all these things. So these are actually the last 2 verses. And number 35, where is it here? Okay, I can read this now. Yeah. Okay. Sarvasam, what do you have on the board there? You have it there, okay. Sarvasam api siddhanam hetu patir aham prabhu aham yogasya sankyasya Dharmasya Brahmavadinam. Okay, then I guess we can chant this one. Somebody chant, please chant. Sarvasamapi siddhinam hetu patiraham prabhu yasya vamasya Sarvasamapi siddhinam hetir patiraham prabhu ham yogasya sankyasya dharmasya brahmavedinam. Ladies? Sarvasamapi siddhanam hetu patiraham prabhu aham yogasya sankasya dharmasya brahmavadinam. So api siddhanam hetu prabhiraham prabhu aham yogasya sankasya. My dear Uddhava, I am the cause, the protector, and the Lord. So these three words are hetuhu. Hetu is the cause, pati is the protector, and prabhu is the master. So he says, I am the hetu, the pati, and the prabhu. Yeah. I am the cause, the protector, and the master. Okay, and Lord of all mystic perfections. That's one. Of the yoga system. Okay, of analytical knowledge, which is going to be Sankhya, yoga, Sankhya, of pure activities, which is Sudharma, engaging in good activities, good dharma, yeah, and of the community of learned Vedic teachers, Brahmavadinam. So it includes a lot of stuff. I mean, he's like, you're not going to get, much out of the realm of what Krishna is saying, that he's the cause of all these things. Then he's like protecting him, and he's manipulating them all. Okay. And my dear Uddhava, I am the cause, the protector, and the Lord of all mystic perfections, of the yoga system, of analytical knowledge, of pure activity, and the community of learned teachers. Purport by Hridayananda Maharaj and Gopi Puranadana. Okay. According to Srila Sridhar Swami. Okay, so taking the commentaries. The word yoga here indicates liberation from material life. Prabhupada says, when I'm talking about yoga, I'm talking about serious austerities for liberation. He said, I'm not talking about this modern fat-reducing yoga. Fat-reducing yoga. Yes. Huh? And Sankhya indicates the means of obtaining liberation. So yoga really is for analytical understanding. In Patanjali's system, which is okay, first off there's yama and niyama, do's and don'ts. Don't smoke, don't drink, get up early. It's any system, right? Bow down to Mecca 7 times a day. You get the do's and the don'ts, okay? Yama, niyama, asana. Pranayama. And of course, asanas lead right away to pranayama, because you sit a certain way, then you get certain kinds of stretches in your body, and all kinds of things happen like that, and so on. So it's an analysis, because in the beginning you think I am the cigarette, right? You're going on with your life, and if you can get a cigarette, you're okay. You smoke, and I can carry on now. Yeah. You see people, with heavy. We had one guy who was working for one farm we had, and he was kind of a gross guy also. But he knew the whole farm thing and stuff like that. He was really kind of getting into it a little bit. And then one day he brought his parents there, and Hansaduta saw them, and he said, "My God, I saw Don's parents. They're really old. They're like 80 years old." He said they looked like they were pickled in cigarette butt juice and alcohol. They couldn't die, because no bacteria could influence them or something. It was like that. They were just like, it was like that. They were just like, going on, just like, And so many people, they talk about this. Yeah, we can prolong life. Nitya Gaurasundar, he's a geriatric psychiatrist, and they have so much medication. People come in, they're on dialysis, right? Every 2 weeks they have to have all the blood taken out of their body, every week, and then filtered out, and they get 2 canisters of junk, and then they sit there watching movies while they're having all their blood taken out and put back in. Then someone picks them up and takes them home, And then, but they're living, but what is the quality of the life? Prabhupada refused. He said, if I get to the point in my body where there's any tubes to be put in it, metal tubes, forget it. Let me go, Prabhupada was leaving his body, the kidneys weren't eliminating the water, and the doctor said, all we have to do is put a tube inside and they can drain it, and he said, no, Prabhupada refused that. He said, okay, well, he's going to probably has about 4 hours more, And so Prabhupada made certain decisions. Even legally you can do this. You can get a living will, which is there, but if I'm in coma or something, I want to be maintained or not maintained, this kind of stuff, So So some people, again, it's just a cigarette and they're okay. Basically two things, coffee and cigarettes, right? The caffeine gets you going and the cigarettes keep you down. I mean, it's just so universal in society. And so as you go on with the Sankhya process of analyzing your body, you start doing these postures and stuff, then you start to figure out, well, you start to identify different parts of your body internally. The stretches should penetrate. In the beginning, they're very external, but after a while, you start doing them, right? And you build up. They're more and more sophisticated. And at first, you try and sit cross-legged. And, for many people, this is just, forget it. They cannot sit on the ground, no? They have to have a chair, After some time, they can sit on the floor, but their legs have to go up, and after a while, they can get them down, and after a while, maybe they can do Ardha Chakrasana, Ardha Padmasana, one leg on top of the other one, And finally, maybe you get to full Padmasana and both legs on top of each other. But, it takes, if you can do it, and you begin to feel the different, Sankhya. You're analyzing how the energy in the body goes. And we're so great, so gross, that's our consciousness is just how we grossly feel in many ways. And our brain is kind of like just working a little bit, And so this is what he's saying, that the mystic yoga process, yama, niyama, asana, and then directly manipulating the prana internally, pranayama, and then pranayama, prana, chahara, which means yama, niyama, pranayama, achahara, means withdrawing, yeah. In the beginning, you give a child, all intelligent parents know you never give a child a drum set for Christmas. Because you'll just drive everybody mad. And you never give a young brahmachari the mridanga, because he'll sit there. Yeah. So is he playing the mridanga, or is the mridanga playing him? Yeah, mridanga is playing him. You can't stop it. It's so stimulating. You just can't stop. So after a while, you actually come to the point. Well, no, I want to actually control it in terms of what the meaning of the song is and what that is and stuff and so on. So then you come to that level naturally. For every process in the mystic yoga system, there's a corresponding process in the bhakti yoga system. So by chanting and dancing, we're doing asana, pranayama. We're pulling everything inside. And at some point you start, playing the drum, the kartals, the meter, so it accents properly the meaning. And now I can start to put some meaning into this thing, right? Yeah. Not just like, just like it's on rhythm, it's on time, and I have a certain good feeling in my body. Sometimes, the good old days was all young men. We have a Sunday feast, and it'd be like 8 brahmacharis gathered around the microphone beating away on the drum like that, And afterwards, wow, it was a good kirtan, Prabhu, I was really perspiring, like that. Yeah, it's like going to the gym, Stuff, yeah. But it is. It does the same thing. It's very healthy and stuff, and it's just good for you, And so, but you begin to analyze, okay, I'm not the cigarette, okay. You analyze one thing after another, and you're feeling the different, motions in your body, and you're eating and breathing and these kind of stuff, and you start to penetrate. You get off the gross level, you come to prana, to the air, breathing, which is subtle. Say it's above vision, it's higher than vision, prana. Okay, so Sridhar Swami says, okay, that the word yoga indicates liberation from material life, and Sankhya indicates the means of obtaining liberation using the yoga system. Thus, Lord Krishna is not merely the Lord of material yoga perfections, but the highest liberated perfection as well. One can obtain Sankhya, or knowledge, leading to liberation, by performing pious activities, right? Yeah, so we're testing yoga, Sankhya, and now pious activities. Okay, yeah, where to go here? Okay. And Lord Krishna is also the cause, Hetu, protector, Pati, and the Lord, somebody else here, Ishwara, of all such activities, as well as the learned teachers who instruct ordinary people in the means of piety. That's why you go to these people to get advice, instruction, how to make money, and how to acquire these things, how to do all this stuff. In many different ways, Lord Krishna is the real object of meditation and worship for every living entity. Lord Krishna, through the expansion of his potencies, is everything. And this simple understanding, called Krishna consciousness, is the supreme perfection of the yoga system. Okay? Okay. The last verse then for the chapter. Okay. You got it? Next Sanskrit? Hit the next button. Okay. Aham atma tarabahyo navrita sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahir anta svayam tata. Somebody can chant? A couple people. Aham atmam bayo navrita sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahir antar swayam tata. Aham atmataram bhayo navrita sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahiranta swayam tata. Ladies? Aham atmataram bhayo navrita sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahiranta swayam tato. Aham atmantaro bhayo navrita sarvadaihinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu baha antar asambayo. Aham, I, Atma, the Supreme Lord, Antaraha, existing within as the Super Soul. Bayaha, existing externally in my all-pervading feature. Anavritaha, uncovered. Sarvadehinam, of all living entities. Yato, just as. Bhutani, the material elements. Bhuteshu, among living entities. Bahihi, externally. Antaha, internally. Swayam, myself. Tata, in the same way. So very analytical, as, this, as, external, internal, just as the same material elements exist within and outside of all material bodies. Similarly, I cannot be covered. I cannot be covered by anything. I exist within everything as the Supersoul, and outside of everything in my all-pervading feature. You know, it's just like all the bodies are here are 75% water, right? Basically, right? So we have 25 bags of water here, right? But this is water that walks, walking water. Yeah. Some guy has been married for 7 years, and he and his wife have been struggling to finish their college education, to get a job, to advance in the company, and you know, and she's helped him so much and everything else, and it's her birthday. You know, so he bought a new car for her because she had to take the bus to go grocery shopping. And he stops off at the market there to get some flowers, and he comes back out, and somebody backed out and scraped the entire side of the car from one end to the other, and he's about to fall on the ground and in tears, and my wife's new car. But he said, what's it? I didn't park there, I parked over there. Oh, there's my wife's new car. Poor guy. Yeah, right? Yeah, because we're identifying my water, fella. Don't mess with my water. Yeah, don't mess with my energy, my tactile energy, my product. But it's everywhere. When you die, the water, the water goes away, and after a while, there's just this dried up, skin or whatever, until there's nothing, and there's dust, and then there's bones, and the bones get broken down, and where is it? Yeah. Prabhupada says, at the time of death, they erase your face, and it will never exist ever again. I read that maybe a year or so ago, and that was kind of, my God, that was kind of like, as you get older, when you look in the mirror, it's okay, but as you get older, you start to wonder who it is. Sort of like that. Is that me? You look at pictures of a young Bill Gates or something, it's like, yeah, young Joe Biden, yeah, you wonder, hey, is that, who is this? But still you're attached, right? It's my face, and so then, it's just, like that. Yeah, and will never exist ever again. There won't be another one like it and stuff. And so we start to see how the attachment is there in terms of the 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, space. And then it starts going to the subtle elements, just that our body of thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, our memories, our skills. How many people here like to draw? How many people here can draw Mickey Mouse? How many people here can draw a piggy? Can you draw a piggy? No, maybe? What can you draw? You have some animals? I can draw a monkey, a piggy, and a swan. You can do those? Yeah. But then you get other people who are like, world-class cartoonists. These guys just look. One guy, he was a good artist, really good. He was talking about this other guy, Blade Runner, a very famous movie. They hired this guy to do a whole story thing of the whole thing on cartoons first, and talking to the costume designers and talking to everybody else. So basically they did an entire comic book of the movie. And then it was very easy to shoot the thing, and characters were looking at it, talking about the characters, So the very, very good artist, he said, I met this guy, he left his body. And he said he took a piece of paper and just looked at it for maybe about a minute or two, then just started. And he said it became an entire world, universe, with people and contrasting things and three-dimensional perspectives. And it was just like, afterwards you look at the pen, like it's like, it's all in there, and so on. So this is our subtle body. We have this subtle body, and you can take it to your next life. You find so many. If you look on the YouTube, you don't believe in reincarnation, look on the YouTube for child prodigies. Child prodigies, music, art, this DNA, there's no DNA for this, basically, and stuff. This has to be, some subtle things, your body of knowledge, your body of perspectives that you're taking with you next lifetime. So I have my body of water, I have my body of ideas, right? Do you have ideas of Houston? Yeah? Do you have a map of Houston? No? Where are we now? In the north or south? No. He knows, right? He's got a whole map of Houston there, right? Are we in the north or south of Houston? Okay. In the east or west? Yeah. And so you develop, right? You have this whole map, like a lady may have a map of her kitchen, right? Stuff, And to some degree it may be visual or something like that. But if you're a Shudra and you're working with your tools in your kitchen, it's like, it's part of your body. You don't even have to look. You're just stirring something, you reach over and take the salt and put it back. When a lady visits another lady and they're cooking, it's the lady whose kitchen it is other ladies just talking and stuff, So some carpenter, the same way. If you're really good carpenters, the numbers are a part of your body. 7 and 25/16. That's a part of you take it in your body and you take it over and you cut, because you can't cut the door twice. If you cut the door too short, big problem. So measure twice, cut once. These are simple mantras in carpentry. So you take it as a part of your body, everything else and so on. So we have these subtle bodies, but Krishna is saying they're everywhere. Yeah? They're pervasive. There is our idea. Many people have their body of knowledge about Houston. Right? Yeah. It's a body of knowledge, and it's a subtle platform. But the Paramatma has his idea about maintaining Houston as a subtle body and subtle ideas and so on. So this is what Krishna's telling Uddhava, and so then we begin to understand who is God. God is like, yeah, really great. I am God, you are a God, we are all God, right? I am God, you are a God, we are all God. You say, hey, let's go to the zoo, fella, and look at the lion. Okay, among animals, I am the lion. Yeah. What else we got? Among bodies of water, I am. Yeah, I just go down and sit by the ocean and just look at it. Just start contemplating it. So many realizations about the ocean. It's incredible. And then you begin to appreciate it. Krishna tells Arjuna, common people, I'll give you some examples. I am the taste of. I am the light of. And Prabhupada says these two you can meditate on all the time. I mean, how many times do you actually taste the water? Just do it. A lot of variety. And usually it's not nice. I mean, it's not. You can bottle water, and so many times you can taste the plastic in it. Yeah. It's toxic. When they're transporting those things, if those cases heat up, like to 100 degrees or something for 5 or 6 hours, it's not good for your body. You get cancer from that and so on. So you taste this stuff, and forget it, this bottled water, I'm not going to take it. Another time it's just marvelous. You don't even need to eat. Some of the water is just so nice, you just feel like I could just sit here, breathing this mountain air and smelling the herbs in this season, and just taking water for days. And I don't need to go to work. It's like, yeah. So this is Sankhya, and it finishes off here, the last purport. Lord Krishna is the entire basis of meditation for all yogis and philosophers. And here the Lord clarifies his absolute position. Yeah? Since the Lord is within everything, okay, wait, did I read it? Just as the same material elements exist within and outside of all material bodies, similarly I cannot be covered by anything else. I exist within everything as a super soul, and outside everything in my all-pervading feature. Okay. Since Lord Krishna is within everything, one might think that the Lord is divided into pieces. However, the word anavrita, or completely uncovered, indicates that nothing can interrupt, disturb, or in any way infringe upon the supreme existence of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. There is no actual separation between the internal and external existence of the material elements, which continuously exist everywhere. Okay. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-pervading and is the ultimate perfection of everything. Okay. Here I have my arm, right? And here I have my body, head, right? Are they separated? They look separate. But if you can go underneath, you see, no, they're connected. So all the water in our bodies, right? Your father knows these things. Right? His father is a demigod for water. Small demigod, right? Yeah, not a big one. No. Yeah. Water. The water is connected. All the fire in my body is connected to everybody else's body. How many fire gods are there? 49 different kinds of fires and heats and stuff, and they're all connected up. For them it's all connected. It's all connected like that. You may think, okay, the guy has, four separate. You get 4 finger puppets here. Hello. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Then it goes back and it's connected. All the limbs are connected. Then you go back and all the bodies are connected. All the water is connected, and it's all part of the body of the water demigod. Who is that? Varuna. Varuna. So you do the astrology for the stars, and you see, okay, now Indra is going to be sleeping. This is a time when Indra will be sleeping. The hands are symbolic representations of Indra. So if you see Indra is sleeping, don't try and cut sabji. Don't try and cut vegetables during that time. Because you'll find activities of manual dexterity, don't try and do them during this time. Right? The air gods are for transportation. So you find that the prana gods are sleeping during this time, and so it's not a good time. Subhag Maharaj said Prabhupada was not, he would look at astrology, but he was saying things that, Krishna's, in control of these things. But for traveling, he would always consult the Panchangama, what's it called? Gaudiya Math, and good times for travel, bad times for travel. That he would, simple things, practical things. So we use these things. We can use these things. We can, develop our abilities for playing the drums and the kartals and the different ragas nicely. But we just want to do it just enough so we can start to understand the meaning. Don't become so obsessed with this we forget the whole purpose of this thing is actually, to understand the meaning, the intelligence of the song, what it means. Learning word by word. Where is he here? Not here anymore. Okay, yeah, he's gone. Yeah. Yeah, you should learn the word by word meaning for the Gurvastika. Every morning, Sangsara Dava La La Loda Lida. No, like that, okay. No. Obviously. No, it has meaning. And then there's grammar, and so you gradually begin to learn the grammar and how it's connected, and then just naturally you can start to try and, express the meaning. Yeah. To be. Everybody knows this question, right? You know the question, right? To be or? And the rest of it? To be or not to be? That is the question. Okay. People pay $600 to be in the first row to hear Richard Burton or Sir John Gielgud say this question. Because it has a whole context in terms of what's happening. Hamlet's facing a very difficult problem. It's identical with Arjuna's problem. He has to chastise, kill his most intimate family members, his superiors, all these kind of things. He's not sure what's happening, and it's very unnatural. So Arjuna says the same thing, that an uncle should kill his nephews. So Hamlet says, "Time is out of joint, O cursed spite, that I was ever born to set it right." Very potent. Prabhupada said, you want to understand word power, read Shakespeare. Yeah, he was empowered, yeah. And Miguel Cervantes, if you speak Spanish. Yeah. So it's classical conflict, classical situations. And then you can start, saying the things with meaning. You've got to know the context of the sentence, what's going on. He just, he can face everything. He can fight the Kauravas and kill his cousins, or he can walk away. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the so-and-so, take arms against the Kauravas, or, with my own sword, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. But there's the rub. For who knows what dreams may come in that sleep. And he goes through all this thing. Everybody, the people who's being embarrassed by his situation, somebody who's suffering, being beaten to carry things, said all of them can finish all this just with a bare bodkin. It's like kind of a sharp sword. Just finish it all off, But who knows what will happen when you die. And then you start thinking about that. And conscience doth make cowards of us all. I would count myself king of infinite space, bound up in a nutshell, if only I did not have bad dreams. Yep. Yeah. So very potent, And this is what he's talking about, the Sankhya and everything else. And if you come to a little bit of Krishna consciousness, right? What's the wrong? Brahmande? Brahmate? Bhakti by Baba. Okay, your diploma. Yeah, that's the whole conclusion. You're traveling all this universe. So many things are happening this way, that way. You get so many kinds of bodies. So many kinds of circumstances are encountering you, right? A mother may have problems with her life, and what if a lady can look forward in her life and see what's going to happen with her marriage, with her children, and look at like, will this never end? Or, yeah, you're there. There's all this Sankhya, and then by understanding these things, and he's saying you naturally can become detached from it. Then, and then you can see it in proportion. Yeah, and then again, now let's do it again, but now let's do it for Krishna. Arjuna, it's exactly Arjuna, right? Now let's do it all for Krishna. He's same Arjuna, same battlefield, but the perspective has changed. So if you can deal with the perspective, the attitude, everything else, you don't have to deal with the details of the external features like that. Those are just automatic, automatic. Yeah, take care of them. Yeah. So, any questions or comments about the Uddhava Gita? Yes. Can ask questions about anything. Where is Baskin Robbins? He's asked questions. Okay. Yeah. You got to talk into them.
In Hamlet's story, is there any character resembling Krishna, or that's the main difference between Shakespeare and Bhagavad Gita? Is that in Bhagavad Gita we have the character of Lord Krishna, who can guide the jiva or the living entity, but in Hamlet's character there is no such guide.
No, it's very we develop in our trying to preach and everything else. we've developed science and the Vedas. Okay, we've developed world classical literature, and then the Bhaktivedanta library, and then about all, and then interfaith dialogue to some degree. And then practical arts and stuff, what's the best bag to buy and best shoes to get. Yeah. I think that's areas instead of we're supposed to try and, we're consolidate this now. We're trying to put it all into some form where we can leave it behind or something. So one of the biggest things we did in world classical literature, of course, was Hamlet and Arjuna. And that's so successful that for me it's like, what's the word? What's the song? Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. They say there was a secret chord, and when so-and-so played, it would please the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Shrek sings it. It's listed as probably the most famous song in the history of the world. But the chorus is, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. 168 major artists have used it as a cover song for an album. And it's popular. What is it? It's the holy names. And you see they're singing it, they're just there with the holy names for like 5-6 times. And they get into it. It's Kali Yuga, it's accessible. Halet Jah, praise Jehovah. Halet Jah, hallelujah. And so it's there, the potency is there. So Hamlet and Arjuna, Leonard Cohen, the guy who wrote it, said he just can't. He wished people would stop singing it, but he himself says it's just, it is. It's such a potent song, very nice. It's religion in the mode of passion, the same way too, but it's religion, in terms of higher passionate feelings and stuff. So, Hamlet and Arjuna had been so successful in terms of preaching, attracting people. National poet laureates coming and participating, and these guys were just wonderful. I mean, they're very nice, very, very nice people. A guy in Chile, what's his name? Raul Zurita. He may be 80 years old, like that. I met him, and I realized about the maximum intelligent things I could do would occupy about 70% of his intelligence. If I was as smart and clever as I possibly could be, he would probably occupy him about 70%. Beyond that, I was just a guy. And fortunately, he's a nice person. He's not an evil person. Yeah. But the same way, they hadn't come in contact with Mahabharata and stuff, and so giving them copies, and they were just enchanted. You know, it was good copies in Spanish and stuff. And he was translating Hamlet into Spanish, and stuff, and it had never been done before, really. And really, very difficult, extremely difficult to take Shakespeare and put him into Spanish and catch everything. The exact opposite is true putting Don Quixote into English, you know. But then you got all these cultural resources, you know. So Hamlet and Arjuna, again and again, this is exactly the point. Hamlet talks about what happens when you die, because his father has died, you become a ghost, and he comes to yam yam vapi smaram babam tyajati kalevaram. Whatever is your baba at the time of death, that's where you're going to go. Very well illustrated, and so on. And there is a life after death, and there is karma. And there's God, but God is kind of like, up there controlling stuff, and there's no real personal relation with him. He's just like the Ishwara, kind of, and he has concern for what he's done, for the people he's created and stuff, but it's just like, But he has a good friend, Horatio. And Horatio then is like, helps him think about things and contemplate them. So Hamlet's conclusion is that all of us have a karma. Everybody here has a certain karma. It's already there. And it may be roughly cut. It's not like it's detailed down to everything you're going to do and so on. And you do have some options. You can make some choices sometimes, but you can only make these choices. You cannot make this choice and that choice. And so he said, his conclusion is all we can do is just accept this and then try and do it in the best fashion we can. But you're not going to escape your karma. And that's pretty elevated. Without coming in contact with a guru, you cannot come to the point of understanding Bhagavan. So he's come to the point of understanding Mahavishnu or something like that, But then Arjuna, of course, then is coming to the level of Paramatma, and a little bit just of Bhagavan, Gokula, but not almost nothing in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Yeah. So they're good. Then after this, people buy books like mad. I mean, Bhagavad Gitas and everything else. And then in Chile, they do it so well. They have, the girls all come dressed very well, the guys dress well, and some in Vedic dress, they have 3 kinds of savories, 3 kinds of sweets, they have glasses, and best hall in the country, beautiful performing arts place, Light of the Bhagavat art set up, national television channel there, and, directors and stuff. And, you can see different places and countries, they have certain facilities in nature and stuff, And so just, preaching in terms of the time and place. If you're preaching to a dog, you give him prasadam. But even a dog, even a dog has, feelings of loyalty and so many things and stuff. So, any final comments, questions here? So tomorrow, I guess we're going to find out what happens next in the next chapter. What does Uddhava talk about next? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Back home, back to Godhead. Jai.